Hello, everyone, and welcome to the supplement. It's time to take a look at these documents that we picked up in this past video, and we're going to start off with those newspaper clippings that we found on the wall of Adam's cell. It looks like either Florentine or Belial have been trimming these clips and have been pinning them up on the wall, saving them over the years. So let's have a look at them and see what those two have been reading. The Supremacists of Revelation. Religious leaders of a new fundamentalist movement in Africa claim to have discovered the truth behind the mystery known as crop circle phenomena. They ascribe the occurrence not to bizarre and as yet undetermined freak meteorological conditions, nor do they believe they are the result of UFOs. Crop circles, one report would have us believe, are the direct link with the Earth as a focal point for the devil. With each successive appearance of a circle, the religious movement known as the Supremacists of Revelation believe the devil is able to take one step closer from his fiery home, to the day where he will inevitably manifest himself to the world. The Western Church denies these claims to be true, insisting that the Supremacists are a dangerous fundamental movement which strive to power through the unjust and irreverent interpretation of Holy Scripture. Truth or fiction, official circleists nationwide remain unspoken on the latest theory. So there you have it. A mystery solved. We now know where crop circles come from. And it goes back to one of the first documents we picked up back at the beginning of the game, where there was an article saying that experts were baffled about where these crop circles were coming from. I think it's this one. Yep. Experts are getting baffled. They're so confused. They don't know where they're coming from. But now we know. You and me. We now know. This has been solved. I mean, there have been no crop circles in this game. But, they're out there. They're somewhere around. Apparently there are some in Cornwall because that's what the article is telling us. So now we know what it's all about and how it ties into the plot of the game. Surely, as more of the seals are being broken, more crop circles are forming on the Earth. It all ties together. What do Adam and Rebecca think about this?
The Supremacists of Revelation. More religious baloney.
Interesting theory.
Well, Adam seems to think it's all baloney, but Rebecca thinks that there might be some validity to it. Who knows? Let's go on to the next article, down here. French surgeons still missing. 3 of France's most noted and distinguished medical dermatology surgeons are still reported as missing after a 3-week absence from their respective hospital practices in Lyon, Vitry-le-François, and Bonn. The puzzle continues. So, we haven't heard anything about this before. What do our protagonists have to say?
Surgeons? What's this about?
I wonder if it's got anything to do with Belial.
Rebecca wonders if maybe Belial needed some dermatology surgeons. Well, if he did, it couldn't have to do with what we did to him, how we shot him in the face, because apparently, I would assume that in game time, this has still been the same day, right? I don't think it's been more than a single night. So if this happened, it must have been in the past, because it says that the surgeons had a 3-week absence. So one thing that comes to mind is Florentine's last journal did mention that when Belial fought the Dodger, that Vine cast a fire spell that engulfed all 3 of them in flames. So I wonder if maybe Belial and Vine needed some work done on their skin after that unpleasantness. That's the only thing I could think of. So who knows what happened to these surgeons? They're probably dead. Because that's kind of how the temple does things. Let's look at the next article. Noted astronomer dies in house blaze. Titled astronomer Sir Henry Godwin tragically died last night in a fire that spread through the entire west wing of his home in rural Gloucestershire. Police fear foul play, as various astrological apparatus and other equipment was found to be missing from his private observatory, according to his wife Elsie, who was stated as having slept through the fire and the arrival of the local fire brigade. Scotland Yard are continuing the investigation. Their spokesman will issue a statement later today for the press. So yeah, we did go to Florentine's observatory earlier in the game.
Wonder if that's where Florentine got the equipment for his observatory.
Too much of a coincidence, isn't it?
Yep, it's just too much. So yeah, it does seem like that is how Florentine and Belial do things. You know, hey, we need telescopes, we need astronomy equipment. Here's this noted astronomer who has what we need. Let's murder him and take his stuff. And we'll burn his house down while we're at it. It's kind of what they do. And unfortunately, we will never know what Local Man is doing down here. Local Man's up to something, but apparently that was not considered important. Let's go on to the next clipping. 6 local women feared missing. The people in the rural parish of St. Michael's, Cornwall, have recently reported the bizarre and unexplained disappearance of 6 local women who vanished within the same hour on the same night 2 days ago. Local sources say that most of the women were not acquainted. Police have taken statements from the families of the missing. There were no signs of a struggle in any of the cases. Police are continuing their investigations. Alright, so something about here, about women from the local area, just disappearing. Does Adam and Rebecca have anything to say about that?
6 local women feared missing. I never read about that.
The paper it's printed on is very old.
Alright, so Adam never heard about it, and Rebecca's noting that the newspaper is very old. So we don't know when this was. There's no date on it. And we hadn't heard of anyone being kidnapped, so what is this about? The only thing I can think of what this might be referring to is we know that the temple have been doing these rituals where they've been breaking these seals, right? And the last seal that they broke was the 6th seal. So maybe as part of that ritual, maybe they need to do a little human sacrifice? I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is. But I don't think this comes up in any of the other documents. So that's the only thing I could guess at. Let's move on to the next clipping. 24-hour mystery probe. Whatever happened to the day of the 6th of December? That's what the people of the parish of St. Michael's near Helston in Cornwall are asking. Local Post reporter Martin Clune was one of the 500-plus residents to have experienced this phenomena, in which all residents claim to have slept from the evening of the 5th right the way through the morning of the 7th. Local priest Father Randall of St. Michael's called together all parishioners for a service on the evening of the 7th for a prayer service to calm people's fears. Local sources indicate that the people of St. Michael's are now coming to terms with the loss. So apparently, the 6th of December on an unknown year had an unexplained event in which no one in Helston could remember it. They remember going to sleep on the 5th and waking up on the 7th, but they don't remember anything of the 6th. Let's see what Adam and Rebecca have to say.
This mentions my father.
Right, Adam notices it does mention Father Randall. Does that refer to Adam's father? Well, we don't know what year this took place in, but we might get a better idea of it in another document, so let's just remember the 6th of December. Maybe we can find out something else about that. Bizarre fires sweep Europe. Reports of a series of fires in homes and estates around Europe are continuing to baffle those involved in the investigations. More than 20 fires have consumed some of the most historical and valuable homes and estates in Europe in the space of 2 days. Respective police departments are reluctant to say at this time if the incidents are related in any way. Investigations continue around Europe. So something here about widespread fires, though again we don't know when this takes place.
Bizarre fire sweeps Europe.
Though there is another document that we will read that will shed some light on why these fires are taking place. So that is all. That are all of the newspaper clippings that we have here. We also picked up this graveyard maze map. So I didn't need this when I went through the maze, because it's not too difficult once you figure out how to do it. And actually, I think I'm going to put the entire maze on screen right now. so you can see the whole thing at once. And when you look at this maze, there are a lot of little rooms, a lot of little corners here and there, but there's really nothing in them. There are some statues and some benches, but I don't think there are any items, and I don't think there's anything that you can actually observe. So there's actually a whole lot of nothing in this maze except for the very center, in which, of course, there is the mantle stone that we took to get to the tower that would lead us to Sheol. Now, our final document is the third and final journal of Claude Florentine. It's also the smallest one at 3 pages. So, let's go through this. Claude Florentine, entry, 3rd July, 1929 AD. Temple of the Morning Star. Damn the beast. Damn it to eternal light. How can my mind have created such a creature? The bastard has destroyed the homes and the libraries of most of the temple's most influential and affluent members. It must be the beast. It must be. It's too much of a coincidence for it to be anything else other than that damned dodger. Perhaps I will kill it someday. It has taken away from me so much, and in its place left hatred, contempt, and the burning desire to destroy it any way that I can. And I will. Mark this. Supplement. I must learn to quell my rage. It only fuels the Dodger more. The Dodger is I, and I the Dodger. We are one. I knew this when it attained substance. I must know it now. The strange man visited my dreams again last even. This time his face was revealed to me. In some way he is, or will be, connected to the church in the village. Could he be the one who will wield the sword in the last rite? So what do we learn from this? Well, we learn that the Dodger has been burning down the houses of temple members, so that explains that one newspaper clipping. Those fires are being caused by the Dodger, who is just causing all kinds of havoc to Claude Florentine. The Dodger is apparently some kind of chaotic creature. Not good nor evil, perhaps, because he is, causing a lot of problems for the forces of darkness, but it's not really something that you would consider good, considering it is a creature that is merged with the ire. So, I guess we would call the Dodger chaotic. And something else that gets mentioned is that the strange man visited Florentine's dreams, and this time his face was revealed. Now, considering that Florentine is saying that this is going to be the one who will wield the sword in the last rite, and considering that we might assume that it's Adam, that would mean that Florentine knows Adam's face, and that he knows he is connected to the church in the village. So this is probably why Florentine came to Adam at the beginning of the game, because he knew his face. He knew he would be the chosen one who would wield the sword. This is why Florentine wanted Adam to come to the house. And this is probably also why Florentine had Adam's father murdered, to give Adam a reason to come to Helston. At least I would assume so. I don't think this is ever really spelled out, but that's what I think is going on. That's the explanation for the intro story. Florentine had Adam's father murdered and went to Adam directly because he knew he would be the chosen one who would be wielding eternity in the final battle. And because Florentine wants the final battle to happen, I suppose, so I guess he had to get Adam Randall to come over here, otherwise things would not be able to move along the way he wants. All right, let's move on to the next page. Claude Florentine, entry, 2nd of December, 1929 AD. Temple of the Morning Star. The day of the 6th quickly approaches. Belial, must I reconsider my allegiance with my old friend? Is it I who owe him, or is it he that must pay the debt? Without him, I would not be here at all. No, it cannot come to this. Our goals are surely the same. What does it all come to? I rarely see my old friend these days anyway, lest even the chance arise that I might speak to him. Yes, he has changed. And always the reticence. This I should be familiar with, but it disturbs me greatly. When I do chance by him, he is pored over some tome or grimoire, frantically etching out arcaneries and symbols. I must not question Belial's loyalty. I must promise myself this, despite what the power believes. The years of solitude and the binding to this place must take its toll at some point. April 18th of 1895 sticks in my mind some. That, if I remember well, was the day that Belial took on the Dodger and barely escaped. I had never seen him like that before, nor since. Yes, that must be it. I'm sure of it. The Dodger hounds both he and I. Who or what will rid us of this damned beast? All preparations for the breaking of the sixth shard and seal are almost complete. With the breaking of the sixth, the seventh and last will be revealed to us. The one power grows impatient. Soon, yes, very soon, it will be done. The wait has been long. For me, almost 600 years, but for the power of the morning star, it has been much longer. Alright, what did we learn from this? Okay, so we know that the sixth seal was broken on the 6th of December, 1929. So maybe that follows up with that one newspaper article about the people of Helston not remembering anything from the 6th. The only problem with this is that the year is 1929, and Adams said that his father was mentioned in the newspaper article. I assume his father was not alive in 1929. So, I don't know. Maybe that was Adam's grandfather? Maybe Adam's grandfather was also a priest in Helston? I don't know. But it does seem like there was some kind of relation, considering about the breaking of the sixth seal with the 6th of December. And what else have we learned from this? Well, we know that Florentine is starting to question Belial's loyalty, even though he doesn't want to. And here we learn that even though Florentine is a horrible monster of a man, he still needs a friend. He's saddened that it seems like Belial is turning from him. Belial is Florentine's old friend, and he just wants him to continue on being a friend. Even someone like Florentine needs a buddy. Well, let's go on to the last page. Claude Florentine, entry, 29th August, 1912 AD, Temple of the Morning Star. I have not seen Belial for 3 months now. Where is he? I need him for the rite of imperception tomorrow. If all goes well, I will be able to create 12 slanderers for my use around the grounds. There have been far too many people moving close to the area of late, and we need a little protection. The field that these creatures generate when in close proximity to each other will lead to a cloaking of the house and temple. Hopefully the house will not appear to exist, neither will there be any compulsion to walk the grounds. Despite our efforts, the creature we captured in the Chamber of the Soulstone refuses to speak. Raziel now has him under the key. Belial believes him to be one of the Watchers, that legendary race of Elohim, but I am unsure. The dreams of the sword have returned yet again. This time my love is connected with them. She was in the chamber with a stranger and the sword. Together. I could not tell who held the sword aloft, standing as they were between the Soulstone and myself. She wore a face of anguish. Okay, this is the last page of the journal. So in 1912, Florentine had not been seeing much of Belial. We know about that they were growing apart. We know that Florentine sort of cloaked the house because there was development going on nearby the house, more people moving into the area, so Florentine hid the house so no one would be able to find it. It also mentions a creature being captured in the Chamber of the Soulstone and is now being held by Raziel. So apparently in 1912, Florentine had Hawk imprisoned by Raziel. So Hawk had been imprisoned all this time until the 90s when Adam and Rebecca were able to free him. And Florentine has one last dream that we can read about, a dream of the sword, the man with the sword, and Florentine's love is with the man. Well, this is the last page. There is nothing else that we can read. So, I guess that's it for the documents for this video. Of course, let's take a look at the updated observations, and we'll just fast forward ahead to the end of where we left off in the video so we can take a look at those. All right, let's take a look at the updated observations from this past video. There actually aren't many. One thing I want to look at, shards and seals. I'm not sure if we heard this one before. It does seem like there was an update, but I'm not sure when this was, but I don't think we've heard this. Let's see.
Does the journal mention anything about seals?
Well, according to the second part we found in the vicarage, the fifth seal was broken in 1783.
Was it unmade like the others?
Doesn't say so, but I would presume so.
Right, so a little bit is mentioned there that the second journal did mention that they had broken the fifth seal. And of course, the third journal that we read did say that they were about to break the sixth. And since we have all six here, we know that all six were broken, and that there is a seventh remaining. We don't know where that is, but apparently Florentine does, because he said that after the sixth was broken, the location of the seventh would become revealed to them. Oh, and yeah, by the way, I just wanted to mention, you notice it says spectacles worn? That's right. Adam's been wearing these the whole time, ever since Raquia. They don't show up in the cutscenes, but I just like to think to myself that he's just been wearing these the whole time. It would be great if they did show up in the cutscenes, but they don't. Let's go to magic items now, and let's take a look at something that we just got back, the Shrive. Let's discuss it.
Rebecca, I think I've worked out what's happening.
What? What's happening?
It's as if the brands and the Shrive and eternity are one living entity, three separate but altogether whole forces. Does that sound odd?
It makes perfect sense to me. You're changing, and it's leading to something. You're some sort of focus, Adam. A focus for a power above us all. You're being used, Adam Randall, as am I. And when that power speaks, we'd better listen.
So Adam has kind of figured out what is going on, what this power is that he's feeling, and that is a combination of eternity, the Shrive, and his brands are all one thing, communicating with each other and sharing power. And let's see, I believe there's only one more thing I believe that has been updated, and that is when we look at Belial. Let's talk about Belial's trap.
You know, Rebecca, if it wasn't for you, I'd still be Belial's honored guest at Motel Hell. You don't believe what I saw was real, do you? My father...
An illusion, designed solely to provoke emotion, notably anger, and designed so Belial could finally get his hands on eternity in the Shrive. Your hatred of him is understandable.
If it hadn't been for my temperance, I hate to think what would have happened to us at the hands of Belial.
Yeah, we still don't know what really happened in that scene, but apparently Rebecca is saying that that was not actually Adam's father that we saw in that cutscene, but rather just an illusion that Belial has created. Yeah, but I would still like to know what actually happened after Rebecca threw Adam the pendant. How did Adam end up in that prison? What happened there? They're not gonna mention it. They never mention it. They never mention what happens in the most oddly paced cutscene in the game. But whatever, we just have to live with it. Oh, and one more thing. When we reflect about Belial, what Adam says here might make a bit more sense now.
Belial. That piece of shit. That devious, pus-faced, evil mother. I'm clearly going to have to finish what I thought was done a long time ago. Despite appearances, he's still very impressed with himself. Bound to make a mistake sooner or later. I'll be waiting.
Right, we've heard that before, but it didn't make sense at the time. Now that reflection makes more sense. Now that Belial has shown up again, and we saw that scene, it does make more sense that Adam is thinking about this. I don't know why that observation showed up so early in the game, because clearly it wasn't meant to. It sounds like it was only meant to show up now, after that particular scene. But those are all of the updated observations for this past video. So that means that's it for this week's supplement. I'll see you next time after we go further on into Shoal. And actually, there are not going to be many more documents. I think there is actually one single document left in the entire game, and it's a very small one. So that means I think the only thing that we're going to be seeing in these supplements are probably just going to be updated observations now, I think. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the game. But whatever gets updated after the next video, we'll take a look at it here. I'll see you then.